Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today's movie is When You Finish Saving the World. It's a dramedy that follows a mother and son who are both looking for someone special in their lives. The son wants to date a girl at school, and the mother tries to connect with a boy at her work. Both of them are trying to fill a hole created by their broken home. The story is written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, and it feels like a mix between a social commentary and a character study. Most of the film focuses on Ziggy and Evelyn Katz. Ziggy, played by Finn Wolfhard, is a teenager who developed a sizable following on the internet by performing his own songs. He writes about his own life, so his songs come straight from the heart and connect with people all over the world. Wolfhard sings himself, but his voice isn't great, and it cracks quite a bit, which is fitting, because he's supposed to be a teenager going through puberty. The songs he sings have this alt-rock style to them that reminded me a lot of the sex bob-ombs from Scott Pilgrim. At home, Ziggy is mostly ignored by his parents, Evelyn and Roger. They don't like his music and don't try to encourage his interests. At times, his mother Evelyn is emotionally abusive, and his father is always emotionally unavailable. Feeling discouraged, he tries to connect with a girl at school named Lila. Wolfhard creates a simple-minded character who is a little bit selfish but is ultimately a decent person at heart. When he sees how interested Lila is in politics, he immediately takes a surface-level interest in the subject. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't understand what Lila and her friends are talking about, and wanting to fit in isn't enough. When he lies to try and fit in, they see right through him, and he gets tongue-twisted trying to talk his way out of it. For the entirety of the film, Wolfhard is awkward and angsty. He looks frustrated trying to get his thoughts out, and with his relationship with his parents. He treats his only friend badly, and doesn't try to connect with Lila on a real level. Then he hits these magical little moments where Ziggy stumbles onto an insightful thought and he delivers it with such sincerity and innocence that it feels like a truly special moment. It almost makes Ziggy likable. Meanwhile, his mother Evelyn, played by Julianne Moore, is frustrated with Ziggy and disappointed that he isn't more like her. She used to feel connected to him when he was little and followed her around, but then he grew and expressed a different opinion than her, and that was it. She grew apart from him. Evelyn works at an abused women's shelter and takes her job and her life very seriously. She listens to classical music and she's a progressive thinker, or at least she likes to think she is. In reality, she is often judgmental, rude, and invasive. She oversteps boundaries at work and sucks all the fun out of the air in every room she's in. When her son tries to connect with her, she manages to turn a nice memory into a traumatic moment for him. Julianne Moore plays Evelyn as the perfect hypocrite. She wants to help people but often looks down on the people she's helping and doesn't really appreciate anything but her own way of life. She actively belittles her son's music, blatantly ignores her husband's big life moments, and knows very little about either of their lives. The way Moore delivers her lines in a blunt and casual tone often adds a level of sting to her words that makes you hate her. She seems oblivious to how she comes across, and the things she says to Ziggy are awful. The character is hateable, and Moore does a great job of playing the emotions out. Most of the story involves a very frustrating depiction of Ziggy and Evelyn living out their lives, and as audience members, you just want to reach into the television and give both of them a smack upside the head. Evelyn is frustratingly abusive and elitist, and yet she sees herself as the savior of the world. To some extent, she is. She helps people in need and doesn't ask for anything in return, but she also lives her personal life in a way that makes everyone hate her. Ziggy might have good intentions in wanting to fit in and make friends with Lila, but he goes about it in the wrong way and doesn't see how selfish his approach is. He only wants to engage with her and politics on his terms and always wants to find a way to reintegrate it with his own desires. When the movie finally ends, it leaves you with the most frustrating tease it can. It hints at a hopeful future but doesn't actually resolve any of the issues it presented. Ziggy and his mother haven't made up by the film's end, and any work they might do or not do in the future is left up to the viewer's imagination. The movie presents itself as a comedy, but I don't think I laughed even once. Most of the runtime is anxiety-inducing scenes of both Evelyn and Ziggy being socially awkward people. They put their feet in their mouths constantly. The movie feels like it's building to a great crescendo, but it ends with a deflated trombone. Production-wise, the film is slightly subpar in how it's put together. Most of the movie is standard shots of Evelyn and Ziggy going about their daily lives. They often let the camera linger a little longer than most movies, which gives us some nice reactions from the cast. The rest of the movie is shaky shots of the same subject matter. These shots feel sloppy and unplanned. The subject matter isn't complex or active, so there's little reason for the camera to shake as much as it does. The music flip-flops back and forth between classical music and these annoying tonal songs. Classical music is used whenever Evelyn is on screen. She likes to listen to classical music when she's in the car, and so whenever she's moving about, the film has classical music behind her. It gives her scenes a snootier feel, but they often struggle to match the mood of the scenery with the musical choices. The other songs are tonal tracks that involve different tones playing at random pitches and intervals. I can only imagine that the point of these songs is to make you feel uncomfortable and annoyed. That's all I felt while listening to them. They didn't seem to complement the scenery, and they just seemed out of place. When You Finish Saving the World is a social commentary that addresses the idea of getting so caught up in your ideals and personal life that you forget to appreciate the things around you. It makes some very valid critiques and criticisms, but it just isn't funny, and the characters are so unlikable that it's hard to justify watching it all the way through. I really hated Evelyn and her pompous attitude. I've known quite a few people like her in my life, and trying to sit through her scenes was like pulling teeth. If you like think pieces, this film is interesting in what you can take from it, but as entertainment, this film just sucks. 5 out of 10.